Hi, Floppers. Before we start this episode, I just wanted to remind you we are in the middle of Flop TV Season 2. That's right, the 1-hour internet televised Flophouse TV show is here for you the first Saturday of every month through February. Just go to theflophouse.simpletix.com and get your tickets or season pass for this all-new Flophouse TV stuff. We're covering movies we've never covered before. We've got video segments. It's amazing. Just go to theflophouse.simpletix.com for Flop TV Season 2. This time, it's personal.
On this episode, we discuss Borderlands.
Borderlands. Think that I'm going to lose my hands. You just keep on pushing movies over the borderlands. Borderlands. Is that what the movie's about?
I was so close to doing the same thing.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Flophouse. I'm Dan McCoy.
I'm Stuart Wellington.
I'm Elliot Kale, and I still have a little bit of a cold, so I may be coughing my way through the episode, but don't worry.
That's
okay.
all right, Elliot.
Hey, Elliot, it's that time of year. It's that time of year, guys. We all got colds,
Yeah,
you know?
plus there were like whole years of the podcast when I was sick. So, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
sick
that's
in the
true.
head.
Your turn. All right.
Dan, that was the name of your Calypso album. You can't get mad at Stuart for referencing it.
That's my genre, apparently. So this is a podcast where I get roasted, but it's also a podcast where we watch a bad movie and then we talk about it. A movie that society has deemed bad. We will be the final arbiters eventually.
Yeah. For all time.
In this case, oh boy, we got a big sweet meatball here.
A sweet ball.
Borderlands, the movie based on a video game. Let's start out here. I have no familiarity with this video game. I have to admit, I was I kind of stopped playing games regularly in the platformer era and haven't done that much later. Stuart, you put your hand up.
You're more of a Prince of Persia type guy.
Yeah. Dan was like, is there a Mario in this? So yeah, I have played, I think, the second Borderlands, maybe the third, I don't remember. I picked up one of the random ones. They are described as a role-playing game, which I feel like is a misnomer because you're not really role-playing. You're just running around shooting things, and you occasionally have missions where you have to go around and shoot other things. And the idea is that you're constantly shooting and fighting, and enemies are constantly dropping better and better weapons. And the whole idea is that it's a loot-based game. So you're constantly killing people for their weapons with the hope of getting a rare or like crazy loot weapon thing. And you can play with your friends online and run around and kill more stuff.
So it sounds like there's a lot of socially redeeming value to the gameplay and the message of the game.
And an exciting story to play
I'm sorry,
along
is that
with.
what you're looking for in your video games, Elliot? Is that your...
Not entirely, no, but it just, the more the older I get, the more I have to think about what lesson would my child take from this game if they were playing it. And, you know.
Are you...
they're going to take the right lesson, which
Goombas need to be stomped on.
They're going to take the right lesson, which is get that loot.
I mean, I guess that's a what if scenario, but if you're playing the game alone, I think it's fine. Borderlands, this movie, I have to say, there's a certain like zippy, like neonness to some of the aesthetic, or at least like bright colors that I actually enjoyed, as cheap as the movie can look sometimes. But I assume that comes from the game. I assume that that's all stuff lifted from the game. Is that true, Stuart?
Yeah, the game is notable for being very bright, and also I don't know if this is the most accurate description, but it has a kind of like cell shading. Classic art or animation style that I've seen replicated on Warhammer figures to great contrast.
Yeah, I was talking to someone last night about this, and they were saying the same thing, that it's like it has like kind of lines on the outside to make it look a little more comic booky, maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe this would have been maybe this would have been served better as an animated movie, possibly as an adult animated movie.
100%. It's also a game that is like constant things being thrown in your face. Bullets, like loot, like notifications.
Rabbit bombs.
And there is, of course, a lot of it is being narrated by a very annoying robot, here voiced by all-star voice actor Jack Black.
Now, does the game also feel like it is desperately trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, or is that just this movie?
I feel like this is kind of an attempt to take that kind of general like snappiness and sassiness and turn it into, I mean, I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy is at least the most palatable way to do this. And that they're trying to take this and push it toward something that's a little more accessible for, say, a normal person, as opposed to a I don't know, like Mountain Dew Code Red fueled teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess let's get into it. This is a movie, I will say also up front, went through a lot of production difficulties. Like Eli Roth's name is the only listed director name, but it is my understanding that at least half of this was
Steven Spielberg.
reshoots done by a later director. It was done by the guy who did Terminator Dark Fate. They brought him in.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg did that
late
too.
in the game. Okay.
Yeah. I thought you said DB Cooper.
There are
It stands
several
for
more
Director Better Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah. There's several more screenwriters who worked on this, as is always the case.
I mean, every movie has extra screenwriters, yeah.
But it went through a lot of, like, originally, Roth delivered an R-rated cut apparently, and then they didn't want that. They wanted a PG-13 cut. It got wildly changed.
Nothing but dicks, I believe, is what that cut was called. One of the screenwriters is what Craig Mazin of Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Similar
interesting.
tone.
He's the screenwriter. Well, I mean, he also wrote like the Hangover movies and things like that. You know, like that's he's Chernobyl.
Similar tone to Chernobyl.
Chernobyl is the outlier in his.
Chernobyl is
filmography.
the ultimate hangover, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he had his name removed from the credits at a certain point. So
well, it's interesting that it went through so many hands, including some big screenwriters. Considering that every line in this seems like a cliche that was lifted from a different film. Like, I don't feel like there's any sort of line of dialogue that I'm like, yeah, that's new. It all feels like
it does feel like it. There's certain movies where you're like, oh, they started using the AI program. Okay, that AI program, they started using it to make movies, and this is unfortunately one of them. Even though we know from the documented history that human beings worked on this movie and made it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's like at any one point a character is going to be saying something like, "Well, that happened," or
yes, yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's all on that basic level.
That's gotta hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start talking about the movie. This movie, of course, does what all great Flophouse films do, and it leaps right into the narrator voiceover right away. We learn,
but this narrator voiceover's got a little bit of attitude, as we find out. A little bit of sass, and a little bit of cynicism.
Not at the beginning, though. At the beginning, it's deadly serious until she changes. So we know it's going to be a little different.
A little bit of a vocal record scratch.
We do things a little differently here at Borderlands.
Some say a little bit worse.
Bottomless
we serve
wings.
you the dessert first. Yeah, Iridians, these aliens to us, not to them. They're just
I'm going to stop you right there,
okay.
Dan. I'm already bored. I'm already bored. Let me check my phone real quick.
Okay, you want to talk about another movie? How's Indiana? You're on the road, Buzz?
Yeah. Oh, I'm spending a lot of time with my parents. They started watching Foundation, so that's going to keep them busy for a while.
Interesting choice.
I mean, last time I came to visit, it was Shogun. I just popped Shogun on, and they were like, whoop. They're like iPad kids.
Yeah, distract them a little bit. Iridians used to rule the universe. They left fragments of their highly advanced technology around, and that was what, civilization sprung up from this. But there's a fabled vault on the planet of Pandora where all of their, like, real good stuff is hidden, and that's turned what? Stu,
real quick. When you name something Pandora, does that mean it's full of good stuff?
Yeah, unobtainium and whatnot. It's all there.
Yeah, yeah. It usually means that there's no bad effect. Yeah, everything's going to be fine. No irony.
Just in case you've forgotten, it's because you're in a different town. You don't have to raise your hand, although I do appreciate it. I do appreciate that you do that rather than interrupting me. So maybe I shouldn't argue with it.
It's like a little visual cue for all the listeners at home.
Yeah.
You guys ever been to an Aubon Pandora and you just get like a chocolate croissant when you open it up, all the evils of the world come out?
I like to call it a Pandora chocolat.
Sure, that's what they call it in France. Yeah.
Okay, so because
guys, you ever been to Pandora Express and you just want to get that like orange chicken, and then it turns out all the evils of the world are in it?
Yeah, but at the end you open up the fortune cookie and there's hope inside, so that's good.
Oh, yeah.
In bed.
How do they get the hope inside the cookie? That's the thing I always wonder.
I don't know. Corporations and treasure seekers.
Vault hunters, Dan. They're called vault hunters.
They all want to find what's in this vault. And of course, you know it. There's a prophecy. I don't know who prophesied this or why.
The Iridians, I guess, before they died.
A daughter of Iridia would be the one who will open the vault and restore order to the planet. And then we see we're on a space station.
That with what I believe the children understand as a jerk-off motion.
But like a real soft and sensitive one. Like I care about the ghost.
Yeah,
very generous and caring.
He's saying that this is a great turn of events because it causes pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Gives the gift of pleasure.
Yeah. But Dan, and the person doing this voiceover, they're like, I believe in this prophecy, and this is great, right? That's the way that they leave us?
They're pretty sardonic about it. I don't remember exactly what they say, but this is
I think she calls
alert,
it a load of shit or something like that. Okay.
So we see this space station where Tina, who's a sassy, amoral girl, is being. It's unclear what's going on here because it seems like it's a rescue by her dad. Later on, we find that it's quite the opposite, and I couldn't tell whether that was the movie deliberately misleading me, it was the movie being difficult to understand, or it was just my fault. But
I think you're supposed to have those questions in mind because it looks like she's being rescued from a prison of some kind.
Yeah,
because there's other people imprisoned on this space station.
Yes. My question is why is she imprisoned on like a? If she's being, we'll find out later, she's being held by this corporation because they've genetically created her as a clone to open up this vault. So why is she being held on like a prison satellite with Krieg, a monster psycho who is just violent?
But he's actually a good guy.
I think
he's a good guy.
You'd think you'd keep her somewhere that was probably like a little bit safer and also not as liable to be part of a prison riot. But again, that's just me. I'm not Borderlands. That's just me. I'm not the head of an intergalactic company. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. If Elliot was in charge, he'd store her in some kind of nursery with a bunch of other kids, like little wrinkled up kids with tattoos on their hands.
Like blue skin with wrinkles and numbers tattooed on their hands. There'd be a huge rabbit right there, like a huge rabbit that can turn into a monster. Yeah, and
that'll keep those kids from freaking out and blowing crap up.
It's what you got. Look, you got a powerful kid. You keep them in a nursery so they feel like a baby. Otherwise, they're gonna blow stuff up with their minds. I don't want my little blue wrinkled kids getting out. Yeah,
this guy gets it.
What you definitely don't do is you don't introduce a street punk who just got mind powers to this group of kind of sheltered kids because he's going to give them bad ideas. Suddenly there's going to be like milk dripping out of those giant rabbits. You don't want that.
Elliot, the waveforms he has is unprecedented.
That's true. He does have unprecedented waveforms, yeah.
You're talking about Akira.
Yes, we're talking about Akira, Daniel. Yeah.
It matches the Akira
zoned out when I... the fact that she seems to be on this prison thing is part of, I think, what confused me because it seems like she had been kidnapped and she's being rescued, but in fact, quite the opposite is happening, sort of. Anyway, Roland, Kevin Hart, shows up to bust her out.
Named, of course, after the hero of European myth. Yeah.
And yes, as you mentioned before, Krieg, who kind of looks like a big Jason from Friday the 13th kind of guy, is also prisoner here. You think he's going to be creepy, but he's a gentle giant.
He just his main thing is that he fights, and also he says like 2-word kind of crazy phrases to describe things. Like
which I think is game accurate. He's also that character is also the poster boy. I believe he's on the covers of all the games.
Great visual. Look, he's this big shirtless brute with a mask on. Masks always look cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we cut to Promethea, a different place, a planet. We're in a bar.
Not the comic book Promethea by
No,
Alan
not-
Moore and James Williams III.
I knew we were going to talk about this.
Which beautiful book. I did lose a little bit of interest in the 16 issue rundown of the levels of the Kabbalah, but you know what? Still beautiful.
Elliot, if you can't love him at the 16 issue rundown of the Kabbalah, you can't love him at the painted doll doing backflips and shooting biblical accurate demons.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right. I'm currently reading Alan Moore's book of short stories, Illuminations, and I'm finding that there's a certain point in each of the stories where I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm kind of like full. Like how much? It's like a lot of language here, and I feel pretty full. How much more is there to this story? 35 more pages. Oh, okay. So
Yeah. So at a certain point, maybe you just switch over to novels, sir.
Yeah.
no, he's written novels, Dan. He's written very long
I know,
novels.
but just switch over.
Careful what you wish for.
Okay. Anyway, on Promethea, we meet Lilith, the bounty hunter, who's played by Cate Blanchett, our main character.
And let's just say it. Let's just say it because we're going to be tiptoeing around it the whole time. Looks amazing. So
She looks
we'll
incredible.
just mention
She's
she looks incredible. Just
bright
like
dyed red hair. She's got cosplay bounty hunter stuff on. She looks cool.
Yeah, she looks
I would
great.
love to see Cate Blanchett in this kind of thing. If it was better, it would be great.
And the idea of Cate Blanchett getting to do this and get to be an action hero, it's awesome.
It's a cool idea.
I wish,
Yeah. I wish it lived up to the you want to see action Tar. You want to see Tar as an action hero, and it doesn't get you to that place.
There is a scene later on where she picks up a flamethrower and roasts a bunch of dudes, and I'm like, I think I came a million times.
But also, when I was looking
No,
up,
I brought this up because I didn't want it to seem creepy later, but
okay, when I was looking up Borderlands the game on Wikipedia, like the very short explanation of it made it sound like, a ragtag group of treasure hunters, and I'm like, yeah, treasure hunting aliens, that could be really fun. But then I don't know to what degree stuff from this is like lifted from the sequels, but it all gets mucked up with stuff about like a chosen one and all the bullshit you don't need in these things. I would rather just see like a heist
and people dealing with their issues with their parents.
Yes,
Yeah.
plenty of that, please. Flashbacks to mommy letting her chosen one go.
Yeah,
Anyway, Lilith is
Lilith is a character from the games, though, right?
I think so.
She's not
honestly.
she's not just from Frasier. She's also from
not
the Borderlands
just from
games.
Frasier.
We are literally in the second scene of the movie. There's been so many interruptions. We gotta move this along a little better.
So she's on Promethea. She's what? She caught a bounty or something?
Yeah. But it gets interrupted by a bunch of people trying to shoot at her. She kills them all, of course, because she's our hero. She's the badassiest badass, whatever.
Life means nothing in the rough world of Borderlands. Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out this has been a test from Atlas, who's kind of like, I don't know, just like a big shot. Like he's a rich guy. He rules a lot of stuff.
He's an evil rich guy, evil corporate
He's
guy.
like an Elon Musk.
He's not the Atlas that has to hold the Earth up all the time.
Yeah.
Although he probably thinks he
Imagine
does.
if that guy shrugged, because, oh boy.
Oh boy, would we be in trouble?
Disaster.
Oh boy, would we have to learn about a bunch of economic garbage.
Bullshit. But this has all been like a test from Atlas. This is kind of fun. He projects himself like via hologram onto like one of the dead guys, and then like the one remaining living guy has to sort of bear his message.
Yeah, it's like he's got it's like one of the things that looks neat in this movie is these kind of like hologram masks that people wear.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
here, there's a guy who is wearing a hologram mask so that the boss can talk through him. Yeah, and then that guy gets killed. So the one underling who's left alive has to take that mask off and put it on so that the boss can talk. It's a fun idea. That's a funny idea.
It's like a personal portable deep fake machine.
Yeah, it's also
Yes,
one of those things.
exactly.
It's one of those things that is a piece of future technology that functions a little bit worse and less naturally than the technology we have now. But that's the world we live in. That's most of the new technology that comes in functions worse than what we have. So it's realistic,
But he wants her to go find his daughter Tina, who he says been kidnapped. The amoral kid with the bunny ears that we saw earlier on.
I don't know if she had the bunny ears when we saw her the first time. Did she?
Could be, could not be. Who knows?
Hey, let's pause the podcast, go back, rewatch it.
Let's find out when the bunny ears enter the picture.
Well, we know the bunny ears stay in the picture, as in Robert Evans' famous memoir.
She gets a beacon to activate when she finds a daughter. Anyway, we go to Pandora, and she arrives in this transport pod. We learn that this is, the planet that she's from.
Yeah.
Which has become, a big junkie from people fighting over it, trying to find this vault for centuries or what, I guess just decades. I don't know how long the timeline on this thing is. But here's the first part of the movie where I'm like, wow, this really shows how this movie must have been chopped up, because there's like a long sequence of her being like, yeah, I talked to these kids and they directed me here, and then I was attacked by these marauders, whatever. And it's all in narration, and we just get like a couple of shots of it. And I'm like, this has 100% got to be stuff that they shot. And they're like, well, we don't want to get rid of all of it, so let's just
it's really
paper
slowing
all
it down.
of it.
So let's just keep the scene where she rides a bus for a while, and the guy keeps calling her a vault hunter, and it never pays off ever. Let's just do that instead. It does feel like it would be funny if the movie made a little bit more out of that. If what we were seeing clips of something really exciting, and she's like, yeah, so I got attacked by this stuff and yada yada, it sucked anyway, I got to keep going. So let's like, I wish they had made more of a joke out of the fact that that she's just yada yadaing us through this thing. But you're right, it does feel like they were like, this movie, it does feel like Eli Roth, you handed in a 2 hour and 30-minute Borderlands movie, so you got to cut some stuff, as opposed to a deliberate choice,
Yeah. I mean, I will say that the next thing that we get, the bus, is at least kind of a funny idea. It's not necessary, but it gives the sense of like, okay, this is a place where everyone comes to treasure hunt, to the degree that there's now this whole like tourist industry basically that has sprung up around it. And but we flash forward a couple weeks again through narration.
Just she doesn't want to be mistaken for a vault hunter, so she keeps saying, "I'm not a vault hunter. I'm not a vault hunter." Because as with James Bond, when you're on a secret mission of some kind, you want everybody to know why you're there and who you are, and not have the wrong idea, because they might pay less attention to you if you don't tell them.
I think the problem is that she is so incredibly capable that it's not like if people get the right idea and they're like, oh, you're a bounty hunter trying to find the chosen one, it's not like she wouldn't be able to just shoot them to death.
No, that's
because she could.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, like, this is one of the cases, Audrey hasn't watched a lot of the more recent bad movies with me, but she watched this one, and she immediately was like, spoiler alert for the end of the movie that we're going to explain later, like, oh, Cate Blanchett's going to be the one who's going to be able to open the vault.
Yeah.
And part of that is, by the diagrammatic nature of this storytelling, like, she's the one who doesn't care about it. So she has to be the one
and
Tina,
who keeps saying, I'm the special one. I'm special. I'm special. She's not going to turn out to be special. Because the thing about this bus thing is it's a funny idea, but there's no actual jokes in it. It just kind of like,
that's true.
The driver's like, aha, Vault Hunter. Welcome. I'll drive you, Vault Hunter. She's like, I'm not a Vault Hunter. And then he starts playing a video that's like, Vault Hunters, welcome to Pandora. But then it's just him talking about guns they might need. Like there's no jokes in any of it, but it's presented as if there's jokes.
Yeah, the thing I wrote down about the dialogue for this movie is everything in this movie is either exposition, a cliche, or mirthless jokes. Like, there are things that are supposed to be jokes, but none of them are funny. Like, I have to admit, I chuckled at some of the stuff in the movie, but it was mostly just like, wow, this is like, what's this movie doing?
And I feel like this sequence feels like part of the like on-ramp element in the game where you're like, this is how you play. Welcome to the game. While you're waiting,
why not press the A button to control your camera? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, you need to crouch now.
But a very important thing is about to happen, which is, of course, that Jack Black enters the picture in the form of a little box robot named Claptrap. And I don't know if this is true. I should have confirmed this, actually. I was talking to a friend about the production of this movie, and they said that they had heard that all of the Jack Black stuff was recorded way early. Like, he didn't even know kind of what he was reacting to. It was just like some of the earliest stuff that was, I don't know, maybe we can figure out later on whether that's true. But
seems like the best idea.
Yeah. But some unknown person,
Somebody once told me.
somebody once told Claptrap that he was programmed to protect Lilith should she ever return to the planet. Who was it? We don't know right now.
We don't know. Good. Luckily, he happens to be in the right side of the planet for her to meet up with him because, again, this is a planet. So even a small planet is very big, and Claptrap is a very small robot. So it's lucky they happen to meet up in the right place.
Maybe it's one of those like little planets that has the exact same gravity as Earth, though.
Oh, maybe
Those
like
exist,
the Little
right?
Prince lives on the cover of the Little Prince.
Le Petit Prince.
Yeah, could be.
The
Little prawns.
So Claptrap is able to locate Tina. Blah 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 blah.
Here's a Claptrap. I do like one thing about Claptrap, which is I like the concept of him where he is programmed to serve Lilith, but he does not like her. So he's very openly derisive of her, but he has to listen to what she's saying. I mean, is this kind of
passively aggressive derisive? Like he's very passive aggressive. Like, oh no, it would be terrible if you died.
Yeah. Is this kind of like Marvin from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Yes, very much so. Like a high energy Marvin. But at the same time, it's a funny attitude for a robot, and I just wish the things that he said were a little funnier because I like that concept that I have to follow you, but I don't want to.
So she finds Tiny Tina in the quarry. She introduces herself, I believe, as Tiny Tina, or like the movie does or something. I'm like, okay, I guess that's your full name that you go by is Tiny Tina.
From the desk
Tiny
of Tina.
Guys, how shocked were you that this movie did not have like freeze frame, like paint swatch title cards every time one of our main characters showed up?
I feel like so shocked.
Very surprised.
I'm so shocked that my memory supplied the possibility of one just now. And I'm like, did the movie do that? Like,
no, it does do the thing where it'll like cut to a planet and it'll just say like Pandora in big yellow letters on the screen or something like that. You know, but no, we didn't get freeze frame paint swatch intro moments. You know, Suicide Squad style.
Oh, you idiot! You sound so stupid.
Oh yeah.
So Tina at first seems like she's like, oh, great, you rescued me. But of course, she's an amoral hit girl style, character. She's not actually.
There's nothing funnier. There's nothing funnier or more fun than little kids who are violent little maniacs. Which it's the world we're developing. So
and
les enfants terribles. You know what I mean?
she tosses.
Stuart is being so bilingual today. I love it.
She tosses
Borderlands
Lilith.
is really bringing out the en français in him. Wow.
The in France? The Lilith tosses Tina an exploding bunny. And these bunnies, I gotta say, these are some of the least effective bombs. They occasionally seem to work on bad guys. If they're tossed at a character we care about, they will at best knock them out.
Yeah.
And they also have a blinking red eye light that signals to someone that they're holding a bomb, which seems like a bad thing to do if you're trying to disguise
bombs. But let's give them credit
and
for this. They don't. You can carry them on your person without it showing or without even having a bag or any sort of carrying thing.
Right.
They just appear when you need them, as if you're keeping them in your butt. So you got to give them credit for that.
I mean, there's other options, Elliot, but you're probably right. It is the butt.
Yeah, I don't know where else in your body you're gonna be able to carry that many stuffed bunnies.
Yeah, we don't have flesh sacks as humans.
No, because unfortunately we're not descended from marsupials. The marsupials had the right idea. Yeah,
that is unfortunate.
Put the pocket on the body. You know,
Krieg is there with Tina, also protecting her, and they fight a bit, Lilith and Krieg. But then Nox shows up, the commander of the Crimson Lance, which is I guess Atlas's army force, and they're going to take them in when Tina throws another bunny bomb. There's a big, things collapse. In the chaos, they escape with Roland, who has returned.
Have we explained who Roland is? That Roland is Kevin Hart.
Roland is Kevin Hart. He was part of the Crimson Lance in the past. He seems to have gone rogue. There also seems to be some sort of romantic history with him and Nox.
Yeah, and this is a grim portrayal by Kevin Hart. This is not the jokey, smiley Kevin Hart we've come to know from nearly every other performance he's given on film. This is a very serious, very dour Kevin Hart.
I very much love a movie where it feels like everybody but one person is slumming it, and that one person is Kevin Hart. Like, I feel like when he showed up to set, he's like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to be in this great movie," and everyone else is like, "This piece of shit."
and the kid, I feel like the kid was probably excited about it. But I read that Kevin Hart, I don't know if this is true because it's just something I read on the internet, that he trained with a Marine for the audition for the movie. And I'm like, that's hard. That's hardcore to be training for the audition. When you're a big superstar like Kevin Hart, and maybe they just
he should be offer only, right?
He should be offer only. Kevin Hart, if you're listening to this, if your reps are not making you offer only for this kind of movie, then call me. I will be your management. I will represent you because you should be offer only. You should not be auditioning for these roles.
You'd be a really good talent manager, Elliot.
Oh, I'd be great at it. Oh, yeah, because I love conflict. I love really pushing people. I love getting down to brass tacks and really like putting the screws to people. Sure,
but you have like an auctioneer's mentality.
Yeah, you got
I
that
think
fast
you could do
talking.
Yeah,
I mean, I can talk fast, but
that's the main thing that is necessary from, as I understand it, from pop culture. A
it's
lot of
fast
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I'd have to wear a suit. I'd have to have a ponytail. I'd have to drive
You could
around
probably,
in a
you could probably
convertible.
talk into two different cell phones at the same time.
I probably could do that. Yeah, that's true. And then I'd go, you guys talk to each other and just smush the cell phones together. And then the scene would start with me and whoever just walked into the room.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you'd be like yelling into one and being really sweet in the other. And then at some point you get them confused.
Get it mixed up. Yeah, Police Story style. Sure, yeah.
Perfect.
Anyway, so they're escaping in a car with Roland. They go through a gully full of pee and feces, so that's funny. And and there's a monster that we see, a tentacle monster that they kill, and they have to, like, the tire gets blown. They have to take a little break. For some exposition, we find out that Lilith's mom died trying to find this vault. Roland's deal is he wants to keep Atlas from finding the vault himself because Atlas cannot be trusted with whatever's inside.
He's such an evil guy. He's such an openly evil guy.
Yeah.
But not like fun evil. Like, he's evil in the way where it's like all the characters should know he's evil, but it's not like
he's not like
kind of fun
he's not like
it.
Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, who's just having the time of his life.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's like there's a tripart key, I guess, and they have one
you gotta
part
find
of the key.
3 things. Yeah, it's like Zelda or whatever. Yeah.
So anyway, we go to Sanctuary City. Moxie's
Take me
red
down
light.
to Sanctuary City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Because Gina Gershon is there.
Yeah,
That's
Gina
true,
Gershon is playing Moxie, doing a Mae West impression, basically.
She's like a Southern Mae West. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a
she
real-
knows what movie she's in.
Like a Southern fried Mae West who's with, like, cabaret makeup and a little top hat and stuff. And
Yeah. And Moxie knows where the scientist is who kind of raised Lilith. And like, there's, parent issues, like you said. Like, Lilith's like, why did she send me away? Blah, 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 blah. We're going to learn. There's reasons, of course.
Because Lilith is, we're now at the stage in the movie where Lilith is encountering people from her life on Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when they go, Moxie knows everybody. Everybody knows Moxie, and so it's, we get some backstory there,
Yeah. Meanwhile, someone from the army knows Roland.
His roommate, his former roommate, yeah.
They have a little comedy scene where they both try and pretend
that's Bobby Lee. Is that right? Yeah.
Anyway, he's going to rat them out, of course. So they have to knock him out and escape. And then we meet Tanis, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis.
And Tanis it's helpful for making wine, right?
Those are tannins.
Oh, tannins. Sorry. My apologies.
Those are the sort of the astringent thing that you find in wine or tea.
So this is our second Academy Award winner in Borderlands.
But to be fair, I don't think she had won her Academy Award when they made Borderlands yet, right? Because she just won.
That is probably fair.
Although maybe she did. I don't know. But I mean, she's still a legend. I mean, she's still Jamie Lee Curtis.
It was so long. So Tanis was supposed to kind of take care of Lilith after her mom was, I don't like we see later on, she's like, there's some sort of siege that she can't.
It's one of these. It's one of these things where a secret has been kept from Lilith about what her mom was doing and her true identity for no reason, only to create resentment and. And I feel like if Tanis had been played a little bit more absent-minded, then maybe I would get that like it just didn't occur to her that
Yeah.
that she would want to know these things about her past. But also, why is Tanis the person you're going to leave your child with? Like it doesn't. It's one of these things where this movie is a lot of characters doing the things they need to do to keep the movie going so that it hits movie beats, as opposed to characters doing things that make sense for them to do. Like there's a part where Lilith is like, all right, I guess I have to work with you guys because of that fight with Crimson Lance. And it's like, I don't see why. Like, I don't know. I don't see why you couldn't just take the girl and bring her back now, or why you couldn't just tell Crimson Lance, yeah, I was trying to capture her when you guys showed up. Like, there's a lot of just, well, I guess this is part of the movie where I do this now. You know?
Yeah, it's time to team up. I do like how Jamie Lee Curtis as Tanis is dressed up kind of like a drum major. She's wearing like a red little coat and with like, she almost looks like Dr. Robotnik. I really like that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is the person who's supposed to sort of be a surrogate mom to Lilith, but she left Lilith with tradespeople so she could continue her vault chasing ways. She's been studying this for years. And so here we learn also from Tina that Atlas created her, like that Atlas is her father only in the sense that he is her creator, that there was a piece of DNA from an Iridian on an old on the vault key that he used to clone an Iridian because, you know, an Iridian is who's supposed to be able to open the vault.
Yeah, there's a prophecy.
She is Atlas's child in the same way that like the Marvel characters are Disney's children. You know, been acquired rather than a natural, you know, creation.
The miracle of life, you know.
Tanis has the information that the second vault key is in Caustic Caverns. So that's where they got to go on their next fetch quest. And meanwhile,
I love Caustic Caverns. It sounds like something at like the Itchy and Scratchy Land amusement park.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, someone's seen Claptrap in Sanctuary City, and so they have to escape.
What's amazing here is, okay, we haven't mentioned Claptrap very much, and you would think that Claptrap is not a visible presence in the movie as a result, but Claptrap is a constant nattering, chattering presence in this movie.
Yeah.
And he is impossible to forget for a second because he's constantly just wheeling up and we're like, hey, blah, 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 da, blah, blah, you guys, blah, blah, blah. And the scene where he's in Sanctuary City, I don't know what he's just walking around going, spare parts? Anybody got some spare parts? And like hitting on a vending machine. I don't know why he's there. They just need to have someone see them so that they can be chased.
Yeah.
But it's just it's like that Claptrap is such a, it's just that he's such a through line for the movie, but it's like if someone sees Star Wars and they're like, yeah, guess you got to have droids that are just kind of making noises and talking during the movie. And it's like, well, are you going to give the droids like much of a personality or like a thing that they do? Do you have to? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, I will say that, like, you know, Jack Black's a funny guy and he's a talented voice actor. Like, he's not doing a bad job with what this character is, but they give him so much. Like, he's talking all the time, like you say, and a little of Claptrap goes a long way.
It's
even
like
if the point is he's annoying.
when you go to, it's like you go to a restaurant and on the menu it says like a house sauce, you know, on the hamburger, and you're like, all right, I'll try that, I guess. And then it comes back and the sauce is covering the bun, it's dripping off the plate.
You're like, you know, it's the house sauce.
You know, it's the house sauce, which means ghosts, cats. Yeah, there's a laughing watermelon in the background. Sure.
Cuts off your fingers.
But you are not allowed to forget for one moment that Claptrap is a character in this movie. Like, it's just all over the place. You know what would make this scene better? Claptrap. But I agree. Jack Black, I think, is doing his best with what they've given him.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like nobody in this movie is necessarily like completely sleepwalking through it, but nobody is given a lot to succeed with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we go into Caustic Caverns. They're immediately, they can't get by because there's a bunch of these bloodshot people. They're, as the movie says, they're psychos that the psychos are afraid of. And there's a lair, and they're like, and Claptrap's like, there's a 0% chance we can get through without being detected. You never see that, which is actually pretty funny. I like that. Was
that as funny as the part where he has to poop bullets and he's saying, don't look at me, don't look at me?
We'll get there. don't skip to dessert like the restaurant I said before that does things a little differently. I do kind of like, I admit, this next bit where they're like, well, did you run a thing where you're the distraction? And the way he does the distraction where he's like, even though it would make no sense for me to say this to all you violent people, who will just shoot me, if there's any other reason than I was making a distraction, but then he like insults them in a very dumb way. And a
little bit of Claptrap goes a long way.
And I will
some of these moments where he actually is doing something and doing an actual joke as opposed to just doing shtick in the background, is better, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think this sequence is one when they're being chased eventually by the bloodshots. I think it's one of the better sequences in the movie. I think it does get across that idea, Stuart, that you were talking about from the game of like there's just constant stuff coming at him. It's kind of never.
And as we said, like it feels like the script and the dialogue is written by AI. The choice for this big action sequence to be set to Ace of Spades feels like an AI decision.
Yeah, and we were watching this. They start attack. They get caught. They start attacking, and Ace of Spades just comes in out of nowhere. It's non-diegetic. That's fine. And I had a brief moment of like
they weren't listening.
It's not like they were listening to it. I had a brief moment of like, I love this song. Like, why is it in this movie? And then I was like, you know what? There's some 14-year-old kid who thought Borderlands was going to be a real badass, kick-ass movie and went to go see it and is not enjoying it. And then at least it's going to introduce them to this song the same way when I was 10, the young ones introduced me to this song. And it just really blew my mind. So like, I was like, you know what? If this is just an Ace of Spades delivery method, then that's fine.
I'm glad that you answered this question for me because while watching it, I had the question in my head. I'm like, okay, is Elliot sitting watching this being like, they used Ace of Spades in this dumb movie. I hate this. Or is Elliot like perking up because at least I get to listen to Ace of Spades for a while?
There's a little bit of that. I mean, when I listen to Ace of Spades, I like to hear it without the sounds of boom, get out of here. Hey,
that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But no, it is fun. It's and it just. But honestly, it reminded me of when they played Ace of Spades in Shoot 'Em Up, and I was like, I wish I was watching Shoot 'Em Up. Like that's a movie that feels like it's doing something. But it also reminded me of when Whiplash, the Metallica song, plays in. Was it That's
Whiplash?
My Boy?
Oh.
And not. Well, this is what I think in the movie Whiplash. I'm like, when are they going to play Whiplash? Like, there's a whole drum sequence in that. But in the movie that Whiplash plays, I think in that Adam Sandler movie we watched years ago with him and Andy Samberg, and it flashed me back to that, and I was like, well, I didn't like that at all. So. I don't know, guys. It's I guess this like Proust's Madeleine. More excuses for Stuart to drop some French on us. This brought back a lot of memories for me. But I will say, Ace of Spades is going to survive fine from Borderlands. So it did. And I'd rather they play. Here's the thing. I will say I'd rather they played one of the greatest kind of kick-ass metal songs of all times during this action sequence than play an ironic kind of like a Dean Martin song or like or like a children's song or something bright and fluffy that's supposed to be an ironic counterpoint
or like a 70s funk song or something.
Yes, exactly. Like it wasn't like Argyle, and one of the things that were in and it didn't bother me as much as in Guardians when they're fighting those pig monsters and No Sleep Till Brooklyn comes up, and I was like, come on, dudes! Like, can we find a new song? Can we find a song that I haven't heard in another movie this year? So you know what, guys? This is my review. If my review of Borderlands was entirely about their use of the song Ace of Spades, then I'd probably give it a pretty good review, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, Claptrap, having served as the distraction, was shot the hell up. So then we get the teased pooping scene where he's like they've gotten through the first part of trying to evade these people without being detected.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's making all this noise because he's expelling the extra lead from him, which is him shitting out bullets. And he says, as you said, don't look at me. And I didn't realize at the time, but I, of course, sent a screenshot from the Wikipedia page that this was like a seminal moment in the making of Borderlands or the conceiving of it. And I'm going to read it to the audience who did not receive it in text form.
It would have been invasive, I think, if you had texted the entire audience.
Yeah, it would have been like getting that U2 album.
Yeah.
Eli Roth stated that his French bulldog pooping gave him inspiration while pitching the film. I have to look away because she gets really shy. But one day I filmed her. She had that shy look on her face, and I was like, that's Claptrap. A scene of Claptrap pooping was included in the final film. So there you go. Movie magic. A dog pooping turns into a robot pooping.
It's a real Shakespeare in Love moment, just inspiring art, from something. in
Yeah,
real life.
exactly. Ben Franklin put a kite up in the thing and got hit by lightning. That's exactly
Kite up
like
in the
this.
thing.
He did put a kite up in the thing and got hit by lightning. I think you misunderstood the story a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's
That's
is
the
a real
inspirational poster that I have in my dentist's office.
the dentist's office. But this is Newton's apple or Newton's crapple, if you will.
Oh.
Thank you.
Well, anyone, him, him shitting bullets, him shitting bullets.
He's kind of shooting them at his butt.
That raises
Again, just
the
like
alarm.
that Megadeth song, "Pooping Bullets."
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but every time I go to the bathroom, every time I make a little poop, I make a little gun sound effect with my mouth, just to keep it exciting. Just to be silly.
I do the thing that
do?
Sorry, that I'm sure that many men do though, where when you're peeing into a urinal, you pretend that you're a gunner who's firing the anti-aircraft bullets at some guy. It's at like a German plane or something.
Yeah.
There's another scene of them evading people. They're chased. Roland has to stay
If you're
behind.
asking if that means I don't pee just a stream, but instead individual bursts like kind of fire, then yes, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Just like
Roland has
fire,
to stay behind to fix the elevator so the rest of them can escape. He promises that he'll return. So then they go to a new place, an old mine. They
a new place in the old mine. Yep.
They put the two keys together to form a map to the vault, and Tanis reveals that Tina's the third key, and the vault will consume all the keys to open. We don't know what that means. She says, "I don't think that means she'll die, but who knows?"
And Tina does not know that she may die when the vault is open. She's just she's like, I'm special. I'm going to open the vault. La, 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 la. She's really
That's
playing
actually
up the
literally
cutesiness.
her lines, I believe. And then she skips around.
Yeah, she skips around with her bunny ears on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, ma'am, shouldn't you be in one of the Purge movies?
Claptrap has fixed Atlas's transmitter, which Lilith breaks again, but a drone shows up with his hologram saying that the transmitter was a
Atlas's
tracker.
hologram.
Yeah. Transmitter was a tracker. The Crimson Lance is going to come collect Tina and the keys. And Tina, of course, overhears only the most incriminating, easy to misunderstand part of this conversation and thinks that Lilith is still working for her quote-unquote dad and throws another useless bomb at Lilith that just...
It does knock Lilith off her feet for a moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It puts her to sleep for a little while.
I'll say to Tina that a bounty hunter came and said to you, I'm here to take you back to your dad. And then within like 30 minutes, you felt like you were best friends. And then later you think you found out that she's still working for your dad. This is on you, Tina. This is not, you can't blame Lilith for this. Like, shame on, fool you once, shame on you. Fool you twice, shame on me. You can't do it. Yeah. This is on you, Tina.
Yeah. Claptrap briefly thinks that
also,
Lilith...
where do you think she got that bunny bomb from?
What?
Where do you think she was storing it?
Yeah, Dan.
I guess it's got to be the butt, like you said before. It's the only
And
place on the human body that things can be stored.
And we've established that things end up in characters' butts in this movie because Claptrap just pooped out all those bullets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Claptrap, he's briefly excited to think that Lilith is dead, but she's not.
Yeah.
Tell us, Dan, what are we talking about when we talk about Claptrap?
Lilith's old home, she finds a picture of her and her mom.
Now wait, now did they go deliberately to her own home, or did they?
I'm not really
stumble on
sure why this happens, and I'll be honest, like my notes.
I'm sure there's a lack
really
of caring as well.
help
Lack of
a
caring
lot.
why it happens.
I think there's a chance I got hit by a bunny bomb around here because it's all pretty fuzzy at this point in the movie for me.
But this triggers.
I will also admit, from the middle of the as soon as Ace of Spades stopped playing, I think I also kind of found it hard to pay close attention.
Lights got a little bit dimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is not a good movie all the way through, but I will say that
I would say it's not a good movie even from the start.
but there's something about like the relentless, like, we're just gonna throw a bunch of stuff at you and it's all gonna be brightly colored at least, rather than like gray digital sheen. Like, it kept my interest for a while, and then it did sort of become less and less interesting to me.
Maybe it's constantly around the time that the movie gets less colorful, to be honest. They start being in more dark rooms. They start like just kind of being sadder,
Yes.
I don't know.
And I was wondering whether like those were parts of the research shoots, because it does, like, there is a distinct shift in sort of the visual quality at a certain point, and I don't know which part was which, but anyway,
probably
this triggers,
the parts that looked cheaper probably came later.
Yeah, this triggers a hologram, R2D2 style, that to clear a few things up
from Claptrap.
Claptrap shows a hologram.
My end of Act 2 circuit has been tripped.
Lilith's mom shows up, explaining that via hologram that she sent Lilith away on purpose because when she found out, quote, what Lilith was, and she programmed Claptrap to find her and protect her and tell her that she loves her. Okay.
This is the kind of stuff that should. This is the kind of stuff that might have been better communicated in, say, a letter that she could have taken with her.
Sure, earlier on.
As a hey, I've got to make sure that Lilith knows that she's that she's the chosen one and that I love her. I guess I'll record a hologram and stick it in a robot and leave it on a different planet than Lilith is on, in the hope that she finds it someday. And I better make the robot real annoying.
Yeah, no, I feel like deep down most parents are just jigsaws in disguise. They just want to make things complicated.
I gotta do it in a way that makes her hate my memory. How can I do that?
How can I make it? How can I make her feel bad for hating me legitimately up to this point? And this is what's her name as the mom?
Haley Bennett. I looked it up.
Never mind. I thought it was somebody different.
Can't remember what all she's been in, but she's been in.
Never mind. I thought it was someone else whose name I couldn't remember.
So at the vault opening, guys, you go into the big vault opening.
Everybody's going to be there.
So Tina talks a lot about how special she is. And of course, that means that when she steps on the little vault thing, the glowy vault thing, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Turns out Atlas has been watching the whole time behind, like a disguisey shield that has been projecting.
Hologram thing.
Yeah.
Stuff. And Atlas is like, well, we're just going to kill you now. And Roland also shows up. He makes good on his promise to not die earlier in the film.
Oh yeah. So did we mention that he seemed to have sacrificed himself in order to save them from the bloodshot psychos?
I did. I didn't make a big deal out of it because we all knew that he was going to come back.
Yeah, of course. There's no way. But the movie made it seem like we were supposed to believe he was going to die there and really sacrifice himself, right?
Yeah. Do you think that they had originally had some shots of him being like torn apart by the bloodshots and they had to cut those out?
Probably when they decided to bring him back.
It would have been pretty funny if they showed him being torn apart, and then when he came back, he had like big stitches stitching him back together. Like, maybe that's better movie.
That'd be great. I would love that. He found Dr. Frankenstein there on Pandora. Yeah. So, guys, here's my question about some of these movies.
Yeah.
Is the audience supposed to be fooled by some of this kind of schmuck bait stuff where this character is a cynical, hard-bitten bounty hunter? They definitely can't be the chosen one. Or, oh, he's giving his life, we'll never see him again. Or are we supposed to be in well, this is how movies go? Because here's my theory, and then I asked you a question, I'm going to answer it. My theory is this movie originally, I guess, was supposed to be rated R, and they were like, no, make it PG-13 or whatever for kids. Kids seem to be the only audience that I think would be able to follow this movie the way that it seems to be intended to, the same way that when my older son saw the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie, the minute Bill Nye, he showed up on screen, he did not, like me, go, oh, that's the bad guy. He's going to turn out to be the bad guy later. Yeah. So when that character was revealed to be the bad guy, he was like, what? Like, he was genuinely surprised by it.
Did he have the same reaction when you guys watched Minority Report? And he's like, Max von Sydow, he's got to be the good guy.
You know what, Dan? You're going to call Protective Services. I've not yet shown Minority Report to my children. But is the movie saying to the audience, you know how this is going to turn out, or is the movie expecting us to be surprised when these things happen? What do you think?
Well, first I want to call out the use of the term schmuckbait, which is a term of art that I think that the audience probably can guess what it means.
It's an industry term, yeah.
It's the stuff that you lay in there that is supposed to fool people.
But it's really only going to fool people who have never seen a movie or television show before.
Yeah. I don't think that you're going to believe that Roland's really dead just because, I don't know. It is supposed to be a sacrifice, but it's not lingered over that much. And it's so cursory. Like, it really feels like, no, he's going to make good on this. Like, I'll be back. I do think that people aren't necessarily supposed to know, like, Lilith is really the one who's going to be able to open the vault. I
do wonder that a lot because it seems so telegraphed from so early on. But maybe that's just because we've seen so many movies that have a similar mechanic. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, is this the type of movie that's operating under the assumption that their audience has never seen a movie before, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is so novel."
Yeah, I mean that's it. Are they?
That train's coming right at me.
Are they expecting the Paul Schrader audience, where they've been raised not being allowed to see movies because of their strict Calvinist upbringing, and so it's all new to them? I don't know. What did Paul Schrader think about this? Did he do a Letterboxd review of it?
I'm sure he did. We should track it down.
I'm still delighted by the idea that man went and saw Twisters based on his Letterboxd.
He loves movies. Danny loves movies. You know who loved Jurassic Park? Ingmar Bergman. People who love movies love movies, you know?
Yeah.
There's that, Bobcat Goldthwait has talked about Martin Scorsese coming up to him and going, "Oh, I really like Shakes the Clown." Like that, like people who like movies, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so back at the vault, Knox, the captain of the Crimson Lance, briefly is like, "You were right, Roland," and like tries to stand with him and immediately gets vaporized by guns from the ship, which was pretty shocking, actually.
But also, why is this the moment when she changes sides? Like, what is she learning about her evil boss now? Her evil boss who has a private army that he's been using to try to track down a child to open a vault. Like, what is she learning?
It's because Atlas is immediately like, "I'm just going to kill this kid." I think
I see.
I think that's it, but it doesn't seem like that should be the final straw if she's,
I feel like she had been like,
army.
The whole time she had been like, "Let's capture these guys," and then at this point he's just like, "Kill them all," and she's like, "Wait a minute."
That could be it.
I need to sign on for that. Lilith comes in. She's like, "Hey, I'm the daughter of Iridia." We get flashbacks to all the clues like we need them. Things like Gina Gershon being like, "Your mom always told me you were special," which is the dumbest of clues. Like,
I mean, people with very dumb children tell me that their kids are special all the time.
Yeah. Also, the moment when she teleported everybody to safety, but Tina thought she was the one who teleported everyone to safety. That's a clue, you know.
She agrees to open the vault if Atlas leaves everyone alone, and she also tells Tina memories are more powerful than anything Atlas can create, which that just seems like nonsense to me. I don't know how that's true.
Nope.
But the act of opening the vault turns Lilith into a champion. She grows sort of these like plasma wings, fire wings around her.
Yeah, she turns into like a dark phoenix.
Yeah, she's the Firehawk now. And she's got superpowers. And she zaps all her friends with protective plasma so they can't get hurt until Atlas uses his gun that had previously vaporized a lady to shoot Lilith, who, of course, being the Firehawk, is not killed by it, but it does seem to hurt her.
Yeah,
we don't know the level of her powers.
Yeah, it puts all of her support powers into cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that it just surprised me this happened because the whole Chosen One thing was presented as she's the key to the vault. There was never any mention of superpowers or that the Iridians ever had giant rainbow-colored flame wings or the ability to then give people bullet-stopping body flames that protect them. Again, some of this stuff looks great. I think those wings look the actual wing effects I liked a lot, but but it does come out of nowhere that it's not. Oh yeah. By the way, the Chosen One also is a superhero, not just like keyed to this lock at this vault. You know?
It's pretty boring. I don't know about you guys. I think this is pretty boring.
I mean, it is pretty boring at the same time. Yeah.
Any of the stuff that hews closer to the, Chosen One stuff is boring. Like, I don't know what the game was like, but it feels like some of this is, this is how a movie has to be, stuff that has been laid on top of whatever that
and
was. But
the climax of movies now with heroes often is not, this is when the hero is pushed to their biggest challenge and they've got to go the distance. It is, this is the moment when the hero's power unlocks and then they get to just beat the shit out of everybody. Which can sometimes be very cathartic in a certain movie, but
like in Sword of Doom.
like in Sword of Doom, when he's literally damning himself with his addiction to violence. Yeah, very as he mows through one attacker after another. Yeah, very much.
He's become so. That's your stand up and cheer moment.
That's his stand up and cheer, and then it ends with. It's not even like he wins, Stuart. His life is now just a never-ending battle. He's he's achieved eternal damnation in a way. But yeah, that it's a. There's a moment in The Iron Giant, which I always feel very cathartic, when the giant finally unleashes and is just walking through troops and blowing up tanks because Hogarth has been hurt and it's pushed him over the edge. But that's not like the end of the movie. The end of the movie is him then making the sacrifice to possibly destroy himself, taking out that missile to save everybody. And it feels like the modern version of that movie, which would just end with him mowing down the army and Hogarth being like, "That's my friend," and that would be the that would be the climax. I feel like that's what we have here,
rather than him rejecting his violent nature.
Yes. Or at least doing something difficult, like having to do something that is difficult for him that may harm him in order to save other people.
Anyway, when last we left off Lilith, she was being buffeted by guns from the ship, which was, hurting her a bit, but she manages to take the ship down. She's stronger than ever. Atlas has Tina, makes Lilith take them into the vault, where there's like a bit of a face-off, but not much of anything, honestly.
How could there be? How could there be? Atlas is literally just a dude, and
Atlas
and Lilith
is taken away by
the redeemer of souls.
Yeah, he's taken away by a tentacle monster. Who why is he in the vault? I don't know. I don't care. There's a tentacle monster down there.
It'd be very funny if they were like, "Oh yeah, the prophecy also mentioned there might be a tentacle monster in the vault," but yeah, it's just a monster. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so after that, they're having a big Ewok celebration.
We see all the wonders that are in the vault, right?
It's like floating
there's
stuff,
some glowy
right?
stuff.
Just a bunch of boxes, it seems, right? Yeah.
Floating boxes, glowing Tron floor.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
I feel like that's the thing. Atlas at that point is like, worth it, baby.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, by then everyone's singing Yub Nub that night.
What are they celebrating exactly?
Well, I guess that now it's this sort of vague, like the balance is back because they've opened the thing. The riches are theirs. Like they have a protector. Outsiders aren't going to be plundering their world.
Why not?
Or whatever.
Why are outsiders not going to be plundering their world? All that stuff's still there.
Because the Firebird's back, baby.
Why aren't the Vault Hunters, like the Vault Hunters on Pandora aren't still going after that stuff? It's like they're celebrating like...
Elliot, shut up. Shut up. They won, all right?
And the people of Pandora know this? Like they're aware of this personal thing? Like it's a...
I guess.
They got an Amber Alert or whatever.
They've got...
Because then they're like, what does that sound like? Sounds like peace. Let's keep it going. And it's like, what is peace of what? Like what were people?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know.
It seemed like nobody seemed that like to have that much of an issue with Pandora except Lilith up to this point. So,
but anyway, the movie ends with Tina basically being like, I don't know. She's like Winona Ryder at the end of Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
she's like, do the thing. And the thing in this case being that Lilith goes up into the sky with her wings and turns into a big firebird in the sky. And then credits, and we get a brief credits thing that Stuart may or may not have seen, where Claptrap is dancing, but the scrolling of the names in the credits pushes him off screen, which was kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah.
As those things go, it was pretty short.
I mean, this movie gets a lot of credit from me for not setting up a sequel.
Yeah. Well, maybe the sequel would be the stuff that you're talking about, where Pandora is still under attack from various sides
it's
whatever.
Just full of people who are trying. So they were going for the idea that Pandora is like this lawless, chaotic, wasteland. It's this Mad Max type land. And then at the end, something happens, and everyone's like, "Hey, let's get along with each other." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know what happened. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't want to watch more of the movie. So it's not like I'm saying, "Movie, explain this to me."
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're in that zone, let's get into final judgments, whether this is a good, bad movie, a bad movie, or a movie we kind of like. I am going to say that it's a bad movie, but Roman Mars was right. Doing the show for decades has warped my brain. And on the sliding scale of the stuff we watched, like, this movie is a disaster in a lot of ways, but it's a way that kind of charmed me more than other movies, because you rarely see a big budget movie with big stars that feels this like chopped up and slapdash and, like something really went wrong. And like I said, some of the brightness of it appealed to me. Some of the really bad effects in it, I was like giggling at the way they looked. Like there was more fun in this movie to be had than I was led to believe, but I wouldn't, tell anyone to watch it or anything.
Yeah, I would say this is a bad movie. It's kind of charming to see a crummy video game adaptation by people who don't seem to forget how to make movies and also what makes video games fun. But what I will say is that, like, compared to something like the fucking, what are those Rebel Moon movies, which is, I feel like, the closest equivalent to this that we've seen recently, I would watch a million Borderlands over Rebel Moons. Like, Moons are so, like, overly serious garbage, and this at least moved relatively quickly.
I will join Stuart in damning this with the faintest praise possible, which is yes, I would rather watch it than the Rebel Moon movies. But it's similar to the Rebel Moon movies to me in that it feels like it makes me. It's a bad movie to me. It makes me sad watching this movie because it feels like, well, this is the kind of movie, not to sound like Martin Scorsese, that old superhero hating geezer, but that this is the kind of movie that is getting made a lot now, where it's like there's no reason to make it. It's not doing anything fun or interesting. It just kind of fills the plate and hits the checkpoints. And I kind of miss the world we used to live in, where a Borderlands movie would get made and it would be a mid to low budget kind of like fly-by-night movie, just trying to cash in on a name. Maybe there's one famous British actor in there playing like the king of the Borderlands or something to give it a little bit of cachet.
Brian Blessed. Brian Blessed.
Brian Blessed. or Ralph Richardson or something like that, or Peter O'Toole. And then everyone else is just kind of like young actors that are trying to catch their break, and it's really slapdash and it's made really fast, and as a result they might stumble into something really fun and something really like neat and original and interesting in a way that will stick in like a kid's mind when they see it in the middle of the day on HBO, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just sad to me that instead the version of Borderlands that we get is like this kind of like it is kind of slapdash, but just kind of like derivative and pull off other things. And a lot of people who should be making more interesting stuff are instead kind of spending their time on this. And, it's just kind of like it was hard for me to watch it and not see it as an indication of a larger problem with my beloved movies right now, But that's enough of me that's enough of Kaylin's Corner soapbox, so on a score of 1 to 5 exploding bunnies, I give it 1 exploding bunny.
Okay.
Well, this podcast, The Flophouse, is made possible in large part by members of the Max Fun community who give every month to help it keep going. But we also have a couple
and
of
we want to thank
sponsors.
Those people, right? Thank you.
I want to thank them.
Thank you, members.
Dearly thank them. It may surprise no one to learn that my newsletter doesn't pay the bills. So
this is your personal newsletter.
Yeah. But we also have some sponsors. The first of those is Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. And Squarespace wants to introduce you to something. It's called Design Intelligence from Squarespace, combining 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology to unlock your strongest creative potential. Design Intelligence empowers anyone to build a beautiful, more personalized website tailored to their unique needs and craft a bespoke digital identity to use across one's entire online presence. I've thought many times to myself, my online presence not bespoke enough. Could we bespeak this a bit more? Well, Squarespace will help you. So why not go to squarespace.com for a free trial? And when you are ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/flop to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Hey guys, do you ever notice how the days are getting shorter, but your to-do list isn't? Well, from breakfast to dinner, Factor provides easy-to-make options that are ready in 2 minutes or less. You can choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well-balanced. Find comfort foods like home-style chicken and gravy and loaded mashed potato pork chops, vegan options like sweet potato and chickpea curry, and globally inspired flavors like Peruvian shrimp and red pepper cauli grits. Use your time more efficiently. So important during these dark months. Let Factor take shopping, prepping, cooking, and cleaning up out of your daily list of things to do. I don't know about you guys, but I end up having to run into the bar a lot during the day, and I don't have a lot of time to always get lunch stuff prepared. So it's nice to have a Factor to provide me easy-to-make options that I can take with me on the go. If you're like me, head to factormeals.com/50flop and use code 50flop to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code 50flop at factormeals.com/50flop to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active.
Hey, everybody. We also have some live shows coming up. Well, one live show coming up and then other kind of live on your computer shows. We are going to be appearing in person. That's right. We're appearing in person on Sunday, January 19th at Cobb's Comedy Club as part of the San Francisco Sketch Fest. We're going back to San Francisco. That's right, to the Sketch Fest. We're going to be doing an all-new show, and we're going to be talking about one of the biggest flops in film history. Dan, what's that flop we're talking about?
It's called Cutthroat Island. It's all about pirates.
It's all about pirates. Remember how pirates were really big after Pirates of the Caribbean? There was a movie before that did not have that effect on the American popular culture. So,
the opposite, in fact.
Yes. So go to sfsketchfest.com where you'll find the schedule, and I think there's some tickets still available. That's San Francisco Sketchfest, Sunday, January 19th, 7 p.m. at Cobb's Comedy Club. 7 p.m. Pacific time, of course, because it's in San Francisco. Don't show up at 4 p.m. thinking it's 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to try
you might want to get in line, right? You want to get in line at 4 p.m. so you can show off your cosplay and all that stuff.
Yeah, show off which one of us you're dressed up as, or one of the cutthroats, perhaps.
And you're gonna tailgate, right? You're gonna tailgate. You're gonna cook out of hibachi. Get excited
right there
for
on the street.
show.
Right there on the street in San Francisco. And we will hopefully do more live shows this year, but we don't have any others lined up at the moment. So this is your chance, if you are in the Bay Area, to see us live Sunday, January 19th. Go to sfsketchfest.com. If you are not in the Bay Area and you want to, or maybe you're in a different Bay Area, like Green Bay. That's a different bay with a different area. You can
maybe just like Old Bay.
Yeah. Maybe you just like Old Bay. Yeah, that could be it. Well, anyway, what I'm getting at
That's what I call Dan. Dan's my Old Bay.
We are also still doing Flop TV, as you may have heard at the top of this show. Flop TV Season 2 continues. There's 2 more episodes left. That's our 1-hour televised version of the Flophouse, the first Saturday of every month. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, the first Saturday in January and February. Every episode this season is about a sequel, and this next episode on January 4th, we're going to be talking Ski School 2. Uh-oh, we're getting into the Ski School franchise.
Yeah, finally a good movie.
We'll be talking Ski School 2. There's going to be a presentation. There's going to be video components of some kind. We've been having a lot of fun with this season. I think people have been really enjoying it. The videos have been driving us a little mad, as you may have seen from the last couple, just a descent into insanity.
I can't guarantee. I'm doing the one for January 4th. Can't guarantee it's going to be quite as bizarre as Stuart and Dan's recent ones have been. Can't make it to the show at that time, January 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That's okay. Your ticket gets you access to the video recording of the show through the end of February. All videos will stay up to the end of February when they will come down and go back to the Flophouse Vault to be found by a vault hunter thousands of years from now, who's the chosen one,
Wow.
a child of Dan Ridia. And so you want to get a ticket, or you might also want to get a season pass. A season pass is 6 episodes for the price of 5, and again, it gets you access to all the videos for all the episodes. Why not just binge it? Just binge the whole season when it's all over. Why not? We can't stop you. So that's Flop TV Season 2, next episode, January 4th. And for tickets, go to theflophouse.simpletix.com. I also want to mention one of my own things, guys. Can I mention one of my own things?
Okay.
One of
Fuck
my
it.
own
Yeah,
things.
go crazy,
I'm
buddy.
I'm still writing the Harley Quinn comic series for DC Comics, so that's coming out once a month. Check your local comic book stores. Harley Quinn from DC Comics.
I pre-ordered the eventual collection because I'm not one these days to keep up on individual issues, unfortunately. But I do want to read this.
I understand. As long as you're paying money for it, that's all I care about.
Mm-hmm. How sweet! What a sweet sentiment.
Oh my gosh, hi, it's me, Dave Holmes, host of Troubled Waters, the pop culture battle to the ego death. Okay, everybody, word association with Troubled Waters. First one to fumble loses. Go.
Comedy.
Panel show. Guests.
Celebrities.
Games.
Oh, sound rounds.
Improvised speeches.
Puns disguised as trivia.
A very niche Flash Gordon clip.
Chapel Rowan.
Oh, no, Riley, I'm sorry. She will not return our phone calls. I am afraid you're out.
A girl can dream.
Oh, but dreaming will not earn a girl any points. Troubled Waters. Listen on Maximum Fun or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Yucky Jessica.
I'm Chuck Crudsworth.
And this is Terrible,
A podcast where we talk about things we hate that are awful.
Today we're discussing Wonderful, a podcast on the Maximum Fun Network.
Hosts Rachel and Griffin McElroy, a real-life married couple,
Yuck!
discuss a wide range of topics. Music, video games, poetry, snacks.
But I hate all that stuff.
I know you do, Yucky Jessica.
It comes out every Wednesday, the worst day of the week, wherever you download your podcasts.
For our next topic, we're talking Fiona, the baby hippo from the Cincinnati Zoo.
I hate this little hippo.
Let's move on to some letters from listeners. This first one is from James, last name withheld,
James Hetfield, yeah.
who writes, "Hey Peaches, longtime listener, first-time writer, shamelessly attempting to appeal to Elliot's special interest. This is at least half a brag, but I sometimes appear in my friends' pornographic videos.
What?
On a recent occasion, we shot a scene in a hotel room, and I left on the bedside table the paperback copy that I was currently reading of Robert Caro's masterpiece biography of Robert Moses, The Power Broker, meaning
What a funny
that
thing!
it was,
What a funny thing to bring to a porn video shoot.
it was visible in a large number of shots, and once I realized that, it was hard to focus on anything else while watching the video. Sidebar, I could tell that Elliot was like, what? Is he saying that porn is my special
Yeah, 'cause
interest?
that's
And
not
I was
my
like,
thing.
no, we're getting on to, of course, The Power Broker, the porn of books.
Man, this is so great that there is a this porn that I can just send to Elliot as a Christmas gift. That's
Yeah,
perfect for the
thanks.
holidays.
Track it down. So my question, since
I
I,
just
don't
hope it
think you're
doesn't get
equipped to
pulled
answer,
off of YouTube as a copyright infringement thing.
yeah, that's
you
where
can't put
most
porn on
lives.
YouTube.
I don't know, guys. I don't know where porn is.
So my question, since I don't think you're equipped to answer, am I the first person to put the Power Broker in a porn video? But I am curious about that as well. Has there ever been
You know
a
who's
prop?
the only person who'd be able to do the research for that?
Who?
Robert Caro.
True.
Yeah.
He has the tenacity. Has there ever been a prop or piece of set dressing in a movie that drew your attention totally away from the things you're supposed to be paying attention to by its specificity? I'm not talking about that's a Pokemon toy in the medieval setting or anything that belongs in IMDb's goofs section. I mean things that could validly be in the place they're shot, but that nevertheless distract you personally. Thanks, James, last name withheld. And I gotta admit, I put this in thinking it was a great email, I don't necessarily have a great answer to it because I know that this has happened to me. I know that I'm like distracted by something like, oh, I've got that thing,
Yeah.
but I can't think. I mean, it's not the same thing as it being so specific or weird. But I remember watching Mad Men and being like, those are the exact same rocks glasses I have. Look at it. Don Draper's drinking out of the same glass as me.
You're like, I'm like Don Draper. I'm like, I should be called Dan Draper.
I should be called Dan Draper.
I don't know if this fits into the goofs thing, because the thing that came to mind for me was, I mean, partly it's whenever I see a movie that's shot in a place that I know, where like if I see a movie that's shot in Park Slope in Brooklyn, it's like it distracts me because I'm just thinking about my memories of that neighborhood where I lived for so long. But in the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin, he's supposed to be like a big comic book nerd or something, and he has framed comic books on the wall. And the comic books they chose are, unless he worked on those comics, there is no reason to frame them. They're just kind of random books that somebody put in a frame and then slapped on the wall. And that did really distract me because I was like, why is that the book he chose to frame and put on the wall? Like it's just some random thing. Like,
Are they autographed? Maybe
they're autographed. Maybe that's it. I mean, he never gets close enough to them. I guess I'll have to check the DVD special features to see if
maybe there's a deleted scene where he is doing close-ups and taking them on to like Antiques Roadshow or some shit.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know if this is the same thing, but I am very distracted anytime I see like a glass brick wall in a movie, like ideally in a bathroom or something, because it's just the coolest thing in the world.
It's just the height of class, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There was also a scene, I recently watched the movie Thelma, and there's a scene where Parker Posey is riding in the passenger seat of a car, and she is wearing a pair of sunglasses over her normal glasses, and she is wearing them in such a way that I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Stuart, I can't remember. I may have said this on the podcast before, but my like online bad movie watching crew, like they will shout out GBA on the chat, glass brick alert, whenever one shows up, one of those walls shows up in a movie.
Yeah.
Because I mean, particularly low budget movies, there's a lot of glass brick walls that show up.
I mean, I was watching there's this old thriller with James Spader and Rob Lowe called Bad Influence, where James Spader plays like a buttoned up guy who meets like a bad influence in a bar, and he goes down a downward spiral.
It is
and
so
James
funny
Spader's,
that at that point in time, it felt like it made sense for James Spader to be the button-up innocent guy and Rob Lowe to be the bad influence.
No. And James Spader's apartment is in LA, and it's like everything is glass brick walls. It's crazy. There's also a scene where he goes to they go to like a club with like performers dancing on everyone's table, and they're like playing Skinny Puppy or some shit. It's pretty crazy. It's a crazy movie, guys.
I believe that's an early Curtis Hanson movie. That's
you believe correct.
Yeah. This next letter is from Rob, last name withheld.
Rob Lowe. Hey, have you guys seen my movie Bad Influence?
I was trying to be the normal guy, and they're like, nope.
Nope, be the weirdo. Well, not weirdo,
writes,
but the bad guy, yeah.
Hi, Peaches. I was re-listening to episode 374, Firestarter, 2022, and another listener, Matthew, mixed a song from a mini episode called Flophouse the Movie. I was only half listening, so instead of hearing palm trees, jet skis, I heard palm trees, Skeksis, a la the Dark Crystal.
Thank you for clarifying.
As opposed to the Skeksis and Kramer versus Kramer, yeah.
Skeksis versus Skeksis. It made me think of them soaking up the sun in California, and then also maybe riding jet skis. This then immediately led my imagination to think of you guys talking about Freddie and Jason vacationing on Fire Island.
I'm imagining someone going, hey, when I'm going, are those jet skis over there?
Yeah. It's got to be like Boca or something, right?
Do you think they made a lot of those noises for the same reason that like anime has a lot of those noises? Because, you know, Dark Crystal originally was not supposed to be in English. Like Henson was like, we'll have it all in fantasy language. And then they saw it cut and they're like, no, Jim,
doesn't make any
you can't do it like this. So maybe there's extra noises because they have to like match the lip flap.
Maybe. I don't know. Possibly.
Oh, maybe.
It feels a little bit more. It feels a little bit more natural than it does sometimes in anime, where they're like, what did you say? We have to go over there and then we have to do this, huh? Like that's the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This then immediately led my imagination to think of you guys talking about Freddy and Jason, Vacationing on Fire Island with Pennywise and the Babadook.
Oh.
I couldn't stop laughing
Simpler
at myself
times.
on the train. My question, where do you think famous movie monsters and villains would like to get some R&R? Love the show. Rob, last name withheld.
I mean, I feel like they're always going to New York or space, right?
You think those are tourist destinations then?
Yeah, I guess they turn into work trips, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's hard to get away from. Like the Jigsaw says that he wants to just get away and not have to do the work and make decisions, but he can't. Once he goes on vacation, he just can't help himself. He doesn't know how to relax anymore. Luckily, there's a whole hotel just for monsters. It's in Transylvania. Yeah.
And they apparently also then go on a cruise together, even though that seems like a bad place for mini monsters to be.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
A lot of sun,
What
I
about
don't
the
know if any of
creature
them have
from the
problem
Black
with open
Lagoon?
water.
And that feels perfect, right?
Yeah, for him, sure.
Sure.
The whole
Gilman,
vampire
I guess.
family that's involved there, though, maybe not so much.
Maybe not. And I'm sure there's some of those monsters have trouble being around running water. To be surrounded by the
Mhm.
ocean is probably not great. So,
Yeah, they can't cross it, but maybe. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like, then how do they get on with the gangplank? Like, you got to cross some
Yeah.
water there, right?
I mean, maybe they
I
just
guess
bring their.
we should
bring
watch
them in.
Last Voyage of the Demeter. Maybe that'll.
Yeah.
I've
clear
seen
that
it.
up.
That'll
It does not
clear up
answer the
some of
questions that we're asking.
Anyway, that's what we call the letter segment. Let's move on to recommendations. Recommendations, of course, movies that might be a better use of your time
Then Borderlands?
than Borderlands. You know what? I was like looking at my. You know what? I want to recommend a movie called Drive from 1997. Not the Nicholas Winding Refn Drive, but from 97 there was a movie called Drive that starred. I gotta check on the.
Is it
main
License
guy.
to Drive? Is that the movie? You're
No,
recommending?
it's just.
Is it Drive My
it's
Car?
It's just Drive. The lead is Mark Dacascos.
Hell yeah.
Dacascos?
Yep.
He, you may have seen him most recently in John Wick 3, probably as the bad guy, or the
He's
kind
all-
of like nice bad guy.
He
sort of.
also plays Manny in Mark Dacascos plays Manny in Brotherhood of the Wolf, right?
Yes,
like-
he's in Brotherhood of the Wolf. It also has Kadeem Hardison, who I, of course, think of as Dwayne Wayne from A Different World, but is always sort of charming when he shows up. Never had the career that I think he probably could have had if he was a little more fortunate. But it's a buddy comedy. 1 year before Rush Hour, you got this, this black guy in LA teaming up with a martial arts master to fight some baddies, and it's just a lot of fun. It is a fun action comedy, very silly. Didn't get a lot of attention because it was released straight to HBO. It was produced direct to video. Brittany Murphy also shows up for a little while to remind us about how sad
R.I.P.
it is that she's not around
Yeah.
anymore, because she does a great job. It's just like a fun, silly action comedy of a kind that I'm like, sometimes I feel like I've seen all of like the good stuff in that vein, like the really like popcorny fun shit from the past. And it's nice to know like there's still stuff out there to find that is maybe a little more under the radar. So I would look it up. It is like so many things on Tubi's. So you can find it
Hell
there.
yeah. I'm going to recommend a movie that I saw with Dan McCoy as a matinee the day before Thanksgiving, which shows how long it's been since we've recorded one of these full episodes. I'm recommending one of my favorite movies of the year, Luca Guadagnino's Queer, starring Mr. Daniel Craig. You might know him as a Jimmy Bond. And yeah.
I don't.
This is a adaptation of a short Burroughs novel, and I'm not familiar
Edgar
with the
Rice
source
Burroughs?
material. Yep, that's what I
Yes,
meant.
that's right.
That's what I meant.
Pulp novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I found it to be a really, in a year when Guadagnino also made or had Challengers released. It's so great to see him kind of falling back kind of into his like sweet spot of this like kind of smaller story that is filled with characters that have like intense longing and a desire for connection and like all these great little like physical and like character moments. But it also like this one is also like less immediately satisfying than something like Challengers. I just found it to be a really beautiful movie that's really well acted and really interesting. What do you think, Dan?
I liked it a lot. It's Jason Schwartzman is also very fun.
He's
supporting
so good
part.
at it.
Yeah, he provides this like weird sort of grounding of like a more normal guy, but still silly. He's still a funny like weird guy in his own way, but he also provides a lot of warmth in a supporting part. It's a very interesting movie in that like it doesn't have a lot of plot thrust, but I found myself really engaged by just the main character's sort of desperate need for connection.
So check it out. It's queer. Yeah.
I was going to recommend something similar. It's also about the need for connection between people who are otherwise lonely. This is the new Wallace and Gromit movie, which I took my kids to see a screening of yesterday. It's called Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, and I'm a big fan of their stuff and those movies. The last one that they had done, A Matter of Loaf and Death, which was years ago, I was not such a fan of. It seemed like it didn't quite have it. But this one, I found it was just super fun and super funny and had a lot of that Wallace and Gromit, Aardman, Nick Park inventiveness that is the hallmark of the series. And it moves fast and doesn't get weighed down, and it's got like lots of fun sequences in it. And the animation looks great, and it was great seeing those characters again. So if you want to see something that is going to be fun, then why not check out Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul when it's available?
I've been looking forward to that one. I want to see it.
I really enjoyed it a lot. There are a number of sequences in it where I'm like, oh yeah, this is top Wallace and Gromit stuff. You know,
that's 3 recommendations I'm pretty excited about.
Hey, this has been the Flophouse. That's how we end it, right? This has been the Flophouse. It's been a while since we've actually been recording one of these things.
Yeah, it's been a while since we started the show and identified what this show is.
Yeah, I like to reset right at the end. What was I listening to? Oh, yeah, the Flophouse. The Flophouse is on the Maximum Fun network. If you go to MaximumFun.org, you can find other great podcasts on the network about all kinds of different stuff. I'm sure if you like this, you might find another one there that you like as well. Why don't you check it out? Our producer is Alex Smith. He does a great job for us. Happy holidays, Alex. Thank you so much. You can find him online as Howell Doughty, which is the name under which he makes a lot of music. He does some Twitch streams. Check his stuff out. And I guess that's it for the Flophouse. I've been Dan McCoy.
I've been Stuart Wellington.
And I'm Elliot Kalin.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya. Bye. Deuces.
What? On this episode, we discuss Borderlands.
Sort of an unconventional remake of the movie Badlands.
Let's retake that only because I think you said the word a little weird, unconventional.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
It was an unconventional way of saying unconventional.
Yeah.
Maximum Fun.
A worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
directly
by you.